All right, what is up, everybody? The Underground Metal Gamer here, and I'm very happy you could join us tonight for this special interview with Craig Nino Ninus Jr., the vocalist and lead guitarist of Bray Road. Let's get into the interview.
Let me find my questions real fast.
No worries, dude. Hello, guys. How are you doing tonight? The Underground Metal Gamer here is with Craig Nino Ninus Jr., the vocalist of Bray Road, and I'm very happy you're here tonight. Thank you so much.
Guitarist.
Lead guitarist, right, and vocalist. Very happy you're here tonight. Thank you so much. How you doing there, Craig?
Doing great. Just trying to survive the cold here in Wisconsin.
Well, it's starting to warm up here in Manitoba, actually. We've had some really nice weather, and the temperatures are changing now. Perfect for March Madness, so I'm looking forward to that as well. College basketball is a big thing for me. All right, so I'm just going to jump right into it here. We're also going to give you guys later on a taste of what Bray Road sounds like. So the first question I'm going to ask you today, Craig, is what made you decide to start creating metal?
Well, my whole life, I was never really into metal. I was more into like hip hop and rap, and my mom was very, very adamant about hard rock and metal. Her favorite was Metallica. So growing up, every Sunday when we were cleaning at the house, it was always Van Halen, Metallica, Queen.
Nice.
She even had a little bit of Slayer in there. So I have to credit my mom for that.
That's fucking awesome.
When I started enjoying to make music, I just gravitated towards metal because it was more like my personality, aggressive and, all over the place, the different time signatures. So
that's really cool.
And I don't know, to me, it's like an expression, a rebellion.
Basically saying, fuck the man and fuck the matrix. You're taking the red pill. Yeah, exactly. So now you're from Wisconsin. What city are you from?
Currently, I'm living in Milwaukee, but I am from Racine County.
Okay.
That's about 30 minutes away from here.
And would you say Bray Road is thrash metal, or do you have kind of your own idea of what metal you guys are playing?
Between the band, our opinions would be we're like a thrash groove metal because we try to implement a lot of backbeat. And, it just seems like so many people are trying to out-brutal each other instead of worrying about the quality of their music. And in our songwriting process, we pay a lot of attention to our arrangements and does this riff work? Or, our focus isn't to be the ultra heavy, but we want to make quality music within the genre. So we like to implement anything we can that fits,
Yeah.
Our new stuff that we're coming out with our drummer, he's primarily a death metal drummer. So we even have some blast beats coming out in our new music. It's
nice.
Very interesting.
That'll be great. Yeah. So what's the metal scene like in your area right now?
Right. It's very divided. Sometimes it feels like there's almost micro scenes going on. The opportunities seem very limited. A lot of venues have been closing around us because of the lack of support. And that causes a lot of the bigger name acts to just skip right over us. They go to Minnesota, then you skip Wisconsin, go to Chicago. I think a lot of it has to do with the local promoters, as they tend to stick to the same like 3 or 4 bands on all their bills. So you see a show pop up, it's like, oh, here's the show. Oh, look who's playing. You could have figured that, It's a lot of the buddy system. That causes a lot of talented bands to be overlooked, in my opinion. I'm not just talking about us because, there's a lot of talent in Milwaukee, and that's one of the positive things is there's so many bands that are just good.
Very cool.
There's a lot of stepping on toes with the booking around here too. It like forces people to make a choice in the same night who they want to go to, and it draws away from the crowds that could have been bigger. And I hate to say it, but there's a major oversaturation of cover bands in our area. There's just so many. There's Metallica tributes, thrash metal tributes. There's people who play this and that, and it's just like, to me, although cover bands are entertaining, but being someone who writes their own music and records and wants to put our perspective on music into the world, it just kind of takes away from it for the most part.
I agree. I completely agree. I think having your own identity is extremely important in extreme music for sure.
In Wisconsin, cover bands win Metal Artist of the Year, and I don't really understand it, but
It's hard to. Well, you know a lot, obviously, man. You've been doing. How long have you been doing Bray Road now? It's your baby. You've been doing it for quite a long time now, haven't you?
Yeah, actually, I started Bray Road with have you ever heard of a thrash band called Snow White? They were big in the '80s. They were considered the pioneers of thrash metal in Chicago.
And no, I have not.
I met up with the drummer. His name's Tony, and he's this 52-year-old guy from the projects of Chicago. When I first met him, he walked in, kind of looked at me like, "What's this guy about?" I kind of looked at him, dreadlocks, and "What's this guy about?" And he sat down, a blickety blickety blick. And I'm like, "Okay, let's write some riffs." That was about 2011, so we've been going at it for about 7 years now.
Nice. Is there a lot of fan support in Milwaukee for the style of music that you're currently creating with Bray Road?
I'm going to say yes and no, because we have devout fans who they try to make it to every show and they buy our gear and merch as soon as we put it up. But it seems to be in the older generation that they stick to the bands that they've known or they know somebody in, and it's like they don't realize that your fans should be the number one interest. They should be focusing on all ages venues, because those younger kids are the ones who are going to come out and buy your stuff and support it because it's new to them, and these experiences can't be taken away. I remember my first metal show. I was in my 20s by the first time I went to a heavy metal show, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. I can do that too.
Sweet. Now,
but there are some loyal fans around here, and we appreciate everybody who gives us the chance to show who we are as a band,
Very cool. What would you say is the main vision and purpose behind your music?
Well, if you were to ask everybody, and it's unfortunate they couldn't all be here because they're a great group of guys, but if you were... We
can do a secondary interview with them too. Don't worry about it.
If you were to pull together all the opinions on what we are, Rob would tell you professionalism is our number one goal. But as far as music, everybody does it for different reasons. And me personally, I play music because I want people to hear it. I don't care about, appeasing the 20 or 30 people in Milwaukee who might go to shows. I want my music to be heard around the world. And unfortunately, we have had that opportunity. We sell records in different countries. There's people all over YouTube who write us in languages. I got to use the Google Translator to see what they're saying. Back. But I just feel like as a society, we're consumerists, and we take and we take and we take. And I want to be the person who gives and gives. And that's my number one goal in the music, is just to put parts of myself out there. Right, because now internet is king. With the internet, we have so much more of an advantage than we did before. And I just want to write quality music for people to enjoy.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So question number 5 here. I have noticed the current lineup you have is completely different from the lineup on your debut album, Feast Upon the Helpless. Can you give us an explanation as to why and introduce us to the new members of Bray Road?
Well, since the band started, it's always been a struggle with keeping the same lineup. People come and go. People have different levels of dedication. And as far as the lineup that was on Feast Upon the Helpless, it was kind of everybody needed to take a break because there was marriages and the families going on. And so we decided to take a break. And by the time it was time to get back together, everybody kind of had their own thing going on. But, I feel like from that separation, it created another good band, because all those guys are still my buddies. They have a band called Primal Enemy, and we play shows with them as much as we can. We have a thing called Triple Threat Thrash Assault we're doing with Morbid Satan and them, and we want to keep kind of promoting that show and have thrash metal exclusive shows because there's a lot of mixed bills around here.
Sure.
And as far as the new band, I was pretty much bored, and I said, well, I need to start playing music again. I had just left a band I was in, a death metal band, and, I was sitting at home bored. Music is part of who I am, so I just couldn't do it. It's just part of my framework. So I met a bassist named Mike Eschenbrenner. You know, when I first met him, the guy's, I think he's 63 now. And I'm like, oh, what's this guy going to be like? and, you know, he told me, he's like, Nino, I've never played heavy metal before and I haven't recorded in years, but out of all the people I've ever jammed with, he showed me to have like the most heart. Like the Bray Road is his thing. He got a tattoo. I mean, the guy is just, he's a great overall person. So once me and Mike started writing, we were having drummer issues, and me and Mike wrote a few riffs, and he's like, well, why don't we start Bray Road up again? I'm like, man, I just want to write new stuff and move on from that. And then as we got drummer after drummer, it was, let's do Bray Road, let's do Bray Road, let's do Bray Road. And then I met Rob, the lead guitarist, and it's funny because he wrote me on Facebook. He said, you know, I'm interested in joining your band, but I don't try out. I'm like, oh, what's this guy doing? What's he talking about?
Doesn't try out.
Yeah. So I brought a CD to his house, and me and him sat down, and we started riffing out together. And I don't know, ever since he joined the band, the writing got more aggressive. He has a different style of guitar playing than me. So it made me want to be a better guitar player playing with him. And his attitude is always positive. And
sweet.
So after us three got together, it was drummer number 1, drummer number 2, drummer number 3, until we found Metal Pete.
Metal
Pete for years.
Metal Pete! Right on.
I always told myself I'd love to have to be in a project with this guy, because he's like one of the coolest people and most humble people I've ever met. And we were actually trying to record the Formation EP with our previous drummer, and we spent 22 hours in the studio, and we couldn't get a good track out of him. So I approached Pete and asked him, hey dude, you want to help us record? You know, we'll pay you and this and that. And
yeah,
he learned the songs fast, and he put those drum licks down that are on Formation, and pretty much he likes jamming with us. So he decided to stay, and that's now the new Bray Road. So
fucking A. All right, without further ado, we're going to let you guys hear some of the title track Formation from the EP of the same name, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, guys, we are back. Now, next question I have for you. That was an awesome fucking song, by the way. Now, you guys can pick up the Formation EP off of Bray Road's Facebook. I will put a link in the description so you guys can go out and get the CD. Support these guys. They're fucking great people, great band.
We actually sell it through www.brayroad.com through our merch tab. You can buy physical copies. You can buy a digital download package that comes with all the artwork and everything else, because we found overseas that sometimes they don't want to buy the CDs. They just want to download it and have it for themselves. But you could also contact us through Facebook. You're correct. We're an in-house. We do all our own sales, and we do that at brayroad.com.
Okay, is the link for brayroad.com on the Facebook page as well?
Yes, it is,
Okay.
actually.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if you were selling strictly right through Facebook or if you had a separate merch site, but that's fine. Right on. I'll put that in the description as well.
We all have mixed reviews about Facebook. I mean, it seems like social media is kind of poisoning everybody, but it's necessary for like what we do and for what you do to promote. So it's kind of the lesser of two evils, I guess.
Yeah. You know what? I really miss MySpace because MySpace was perfect for YouTubers and musicians. You know, there's so many limitations on what you're allowed to post on Facebook in certain groups. Like I'm a part of so many metal groups, and you can't you can't do self-promotion in a lot of them, which is really ridiculous because that's kind of the point of being a content creator is you want to get your name out there. Same thing if you're a band and you're making new music, you know, you're not even allowed to promote your music in some of these groups, which is kind of defeats the purpose of having a metal group if you're just going to share videos of bands you like or albums or whatever. But anyway, I digress. So next question I got for you, Craig. Who are some of your guys' musical influences?
Oh, man. Me personally, I'm the type I can listen from anything from John Denver to Dying Fetus, but as far as
that's an eclectic mix.
I'm just a fan of music in general.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, between all of us, I know Mike is huge into Black Sabbath. He loves Geezer Butler, and
Fuck yeah.
you know, Rob is like the Creator and Sodom type. You know, thrash.
Right
And
on.
you know, we all like the Big Four: the Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, Metallica. Death is one of my favorite bands. Cannibal Corpse, Municipal Waste, Evile. Pretty much anything heavy that's good. I mean, I listen to a lot of obscure thrash bands that nobody's ever heard of, but you know, you take elements from all that and make your own library mentally a little bigger. So
yeah, you'll have to point me to some of those more obscure thrash bands. My whole thing is
Slipknot. Thanks for sending me that video earlier. It's pretty. I can't wait to hear the rest of that album.
Yes,
especially if that's the latest song. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Production is just great on it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. But yeah, you'll have to introduce me to some of those more obscure thrash bands. I do know quite a bit of thrash, but my whole big thing is black metal. So getting more into some obscure thrash would be awesome. So is it difficult for you guys to get venues to play in where you're from in Milwaukee? I mean, how's that been for you?
See, that's another one of those weird questions. There's certain venues who are more than happy to support bands who are trying to, you know, underground bands. But it all kind of ties into that a lot of these bigger venues, they only want cover bands to play there because it's all about money for them. It's not about expression and art. There's a few venues that have always looked out for us. Club Garibaldi is one of them. That's Daniel Duchesne does the booking there. It's a great venue. The Rockstar Saloon, that's, you know, Joe Butterfield. He's always looked out for us. And we actually have better success booking our own shows through my company, Cavern Entertainment, than we do relying on other promoters to do the work for us.
Interesting.
We've been playing with Morbid Saint, and those guys have been around forever, and you know, they were a legendary thrash band, and
yeah, they're old school, man.
Yeah, they're just cool guys in general, and you know, we're trying to, like, our next show is not till May, and that's in Minnesota. Our show after that isn't till June, and that's in Green Bay. So we're just kind of trying to spread our wings. But some of these venues and promoters, you'll write them, you'll send them a professional electronic press kit, you'll send them all your links, you'll send them your music, and they won't even respond, you know. So that's what I mean by it's very cliquey. They like to stick to the same few bands for whatever reason that is, but more power to you, you know. Which
is strange considering Milwaukee's a pretty big city, right? I mean, you would think there would be more support for metal in a city that's that big.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of it, I think, is how the bands operate. You know, you'll see bands that they'll play like every other week in Milwaukee, and I guess they don't realize that that's kind of oversaturating. And once somebody has seen you 3 times in a row, it's like, well, you know, I could see them next week anyway because they're playing here, and then they're playing 2 miles away the week after. So I think a lot of bands hurt themselves, and we've never been a band to overbook. We like to be strategic about everything we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. What album are you currently working on right now, Craig?
Well, right now we have a few tunes that we're trying to arrange and, put the touch on and make sure that they're aesthetically sound right. I don't know if we're going to do after we get a few songs and choose the strongest one to do a single, but I personally would like to work a full length in there. And we already have a name. We'd like to call it Conquer in Silence. That's trademarked, by the way.
That's fine. You can add that to the. You can give me notes to add that to the description as well. And
I'm not worried about you.
Oh, okay. Just saying, man. We can protect your ass and make sure nobody takes your shit. That's a priority for me, being a YouTuber and getting you. Making sure nobody steals your stuff. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So the next question I have for you. Oh, damn. There we go. Do you have any plans to tour, and where are you going to be touring?
I've heard that that's going to hurt us, that we all have families. We all work full-time jobs. Actually, Metal Pete works with me on
Metal Pete.
Stop, I'm at. He's learning the trade.
Yeah.
And we would like to tour, but I just don't think it's feasible for us to do 2-3 week long tours, especially if there's no demand for us in that area. We'd just be kind of wasting our time. So we're trying to get more shows out of state, to maybe do like a 3-day little mini tour or 2-day mini tour, within a couple hours of each other.
Yeah, that's touring.
If the opportunity arose, we might be able to do something to make it happen. But right now it's just about, since we have Pete in the band, writing another release, because in my opinion, if you're not making releases, then why are you doing music? That's like being an artist and not having paintings. Like, yeah, I paint. Can I see one? Well, no,
Yeah, it's kind of defeats the purpose, eh?
Or like you, I'm a YouTuber. Well, can I see your channel? Well, I don't really have one, so.
I don't make videos at all, guys. This is all just in your heads.
I just fake the funk now.
Yeah, I just fake the funk. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of funk metal, I miss Rage Against the Machine like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with very much. I've listened to their albums besides the stuff they play on the radio, and it seems like these bands that they only play certain songs on the radio. When you listen to the album, you're like, whoa, that's really what they sound like?
Yeah, Rage is awesome.
But I've always been a huge fan of Rage and Primus. Primus has always been like
Primus is
my number one, especially the Suck on This album. That's like my favorite one from them.
2 of the members from Possessed went on to join Primus, right? Did you know
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Possessed is they're big in the genre. They're like up there.
Possessed is putting a new fucking album out this year. Did you know that?
No, actually, my drummer Pete is close to some of those guys, so maybe we'll be able to play with them soon. I don't know.
You know what you guys need to do? Come up to Canada. And if you play Winnipeg, man, or even Brandon, I know a guy, a promoter here in Brandon. I could possibly bring you guys to Brandon, to my city, but Winnipeg would be a good place for you guys to play too, I think, because Winnipeg has a pretty good metal scene.
Yeah, we were actually in contact with a band like 2 years ago. I couldn't remember, and they gave us an opportunity, but our drummer I don't know if he owed a lot of child support or something, but he couldn't cross over the border, so we just kind of dropped the idea. But now that everybody in the band is pretty solid, that's definitely a possibility.
Well, I will definitely come out and see you guys, and you send me a bunch of flyers and shit, and I'll be handing them out, man. So definitely help you.
That's the other thing with bands is nobody does that work around here. Nobody likes to hang flyers, or like me, I'll stand outside of venues and hand out handbills. Like, hey, come see us, you know. And around here, people will turn their eyes up on you like you're crazy or something for doing that. I just don't understand it.
Yeah. All right. So I see that you guys recorded the Formation EP in-house. Are you guys planning on recording your next release in-house as well?
Well, between all of us and especially between Pete and I, we're trying to expand our recording opportunities so we can show other bands that you don't have to pay thousands in somebody's studio to get a quality sound. I know you had your opinions on the way it sounded, and the thing is it's always about trying to evolve. You know, you have to evolve in the industry, or you're just going to be overlooked. Even if you are good, you're going to be overlooked, because it's not about who you know, it's who you blow, you know.
But, yeah.
Yeah, we plan on recording this, and you and I were talking about somebody that has a lot of good mixing and mastering skills, and Scott Creekmore has always been good with us, and every other band I've been in that has recorded and had him do the post-production touches. But yes, we plan on recording this one in-house too.
That's awesome. I like that, man. I like that a lot, man.
I just upgraded all my computer stuff and interfaces and.
Yeah, man. It looks like you got a pretty sweet setup there. What's that red object behind you? Is that a board or something right there?
Yeah, this is my USB keyboard. I use that for like my hip hop and rap production here.
Okay.
It's got a drum pad on it, so I can put drum samples in, and I've been writing piano melodies and.
Well, why not?
You know, I've always believed that you have to explore more than one genre, or you're just going to be stuck in what you're doing. So. You know, like you take bass lines from hip hop and put metal riffs over them. And, you know, Rob was over here, the guitar player, the other day, and I was like, hey, check this out. And he started like riffing out over a little piano thing I was doing.
That's sick, man.
We're gonna look into doing something like that just for fun, you know.
That's awesome. That's all. You'll have to let me check that out when you're done. I want to hear that. For sure, man. I'd love to hear something like that.
Trust me, I have files.
Sweet, man. Sweet. All right. Well, Craig, do you have any closing thoughts you want to share with anyone or everyone tonight? Sorry.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody who's been there for us from day one. I want to thank Jerry Golding, who does all our websites. Paige Lemaster, she helps with, you know, finding us gigs and getting our EP out there and our previous album to obscure web signs. And, you know, that's been very lucrative for her. She's a very big help. You know, bands, Morbid Saint, we'd like to give a shout out to them. Primal Enemy, Toxic Ruin,
sick.
And Hobbs Caltis. Hobbs Caltis does a lot of our design work and makes us flyers and helps with video and editing. He's been a godsend to us. He does all our photos too, and all the people who have been loyal to us. We greatly appreciate it because it's hard to find people like you. So
it is. Well,
and now for taking a chance in promoting us, you know.
Well, fuck no. You know what? When I heard that record, it really, like I said to you, it reminded me of like Pantera in a way, and that groove thrash sound. I really liked that a lot. It does have a lot of unique riffs and stuff. So make sure you guys check out Formation, the EP. I will be doing a full in-depth review of it, as well as what's the name of the other album you're sending me?
Feast Upon the Helpless?
Yes, I will be doing a full review of that as well. You guys can look forward to that coming up on the channel. I want to thank Craig Nenis Jr. for being here today. Keep thinking it's nighttime. Goddamn sleep schedule. So yeah, it's been great having you here, Craig. And do you have anything you want to say to the world of YouTube before we conclude?
Be yourself, be original, support local metal. And local YouTubers.
Yeah, and local YouTubers. Small ones like me, you know. Yeah. Big ones get all the fucking attention. And yeah. Anyway.
There's only one way to get to there. You got to keep working. It's all about the hard work. And nobody wants to put in hard work anymore.
Yeah, that's the microwave generation we're living in, right? Which is unfortunate. Yeah. All right, guys.
Cook it. I can just nuke it.
Yeah. Stay fucking metal, everybody. Cheers.